my number five, kind of probably a movie that I feel like it's not that popular, but I remember watching it, a, a long time ago now, but it was entertaining to me. And it was kind of like one of those like Matrix, kind of before the Matrix was Dark City.
Oh, okay.
Kind of an odd movie, but definitely not more of an obscure movie.
I don't think I ever saw that.
Yeah.
It's kind of along the lines of like Equilibrium. Have you ever seen that one with Christian Bale?
Yeah.
It's just kind of like that dystopian kind of like.
Yeah.
It's an interesting movie.
I'm making a note. I want to see it.
Yeah. Next would be Phone Booth.
Hmm.
Kind of out there. Kind of a random movie. Obviously, just the one scene or the one setting, but just a character building movie. I think that he was the best part of that movie over Colin Farrell. Just because that voice, he's got that voice that, like, it's just that's raspy kind of voice that just, his voice literally carried that movie. My number three, Young Guns. I'm counting those together, 1 and 2.
Yeah, that's nice.
Franchise.
Yeah.
Because I think, going back to what that meant to me at the time, the Brat Pack, I think they were called, that group of guys. It just, they were the cool guys back then, and they made a cool movie, a couple movies, and he was a bit in, and I liked his character. He was with the tenderfoot, but you could see that even when he was kind of like the sensitive guy of the group, but when it was time to get down, he got down. His body count was just as high as Billy's was. So my number 2, Stand By Me.
Nice.
The ultimate bully. You kind of think of 80s style movie bullies, like it's kind of the eyes. It was just kind of like, he's kind of got that like platinum blonde hair going, just kind of like looks like a bully, especially for that movie. Probably one of my favorite movies ever, but just kind of how he was just like the epitome of like that older evil bully that you just wanted to see something happen to. Like if something bad in that movie, you'd be rooting for that, right?
He's the perfect asshole in that.
Oh yeah, and then number 1, Lost Boys. That's probably one of my favorite 80s movies for sure. He had the look. It was kind of that weird goth vibe movie. I don't know, but he played, for what they were going for. And I kind of read some stuff on that movie as well, because it was supposed to be, the way they were going to do was going to be a little different. But great movie. He plays evil very well. With those first 2 movies, Lost Boys and Stand By Me, he knows how to play evil. And it was just, that movie was just awesome back then. It was a total 80s vibe movie. And he just, he played a vampire great. I guess it was before the whole vampire, pretty boy vampire, but he kind of was. And that androgynous kind of vibe, but on a different spin, modern era, so that's my top 5, Kiefer Sutherland. I know there was some other stuff, but I'll pass my time over to the rest of you guys here.
All right, so Pete, go ahead and give your top 5.
Yeah, that was a good list. Unfortunately, mine's the perfect list, so let's see how it goes here. The best Kiefer Sutherland roles. Number 5 is a TV role that he did. It's not the one you're thinking of. It's Designated Survivor.
Right.
This role lasted for, I think, 3 seasons, if not 4. I don't remember. But his character, he was a senator or something that, because all the other senators and presidents and vice presidents got blown up in the thing, he was the designated survivor. So he actually became the president, and nobody wanted him to be the president. But meanwhile, he had to go through all of these like trials and tribulations and gain the trust of the community as well as the world. And ended up being like one of the best presidents ever in the world. And you got to see this different side of Kiefer Sutherland, where he was this very sort of, he wasn't timid, but he was a very shy. He wasn't outspoken, and he transformed into like a very powerful leader of this country. And I thought the role was incredible. It was a great show.
Yeah.
So there you go. Number 4 for me is Lost Boys. Lost Boys is one of the best movies I've ever seen. His character in it was not as large as the other characters in there, but I mean, his character sticks with you. It's a frightening character. Like Lawrence was saying, like he's got these eyes. And whenever he plays evil, it sends chills down your spine, 100%. And Lost Boys is a classic movie, classic soundtrack. It's one of my favorites. I've watched it a billion times. Number 3 for me is Stand By Me. Like Lawrence was saying, like he personified a bully, especially in his early days in his career. He was the bully, actually. Like if Kiefer Sutherland was in It and he was the bully in It, I would have liked It even more than I did. I mean, I loved It, the old TV series.
He was a bully for It. I was just thinking that like 12 seconds before you said that.
Like he would have been perfect for it, like because he had that 1950s vibe, but then he had the eyes of like a murderer, and he was incredible. Number 2 is the Young Guns series, as Doc Scurlock. It is one of his best performances. You got to see both the very intellectual and quiet and reserved, but you also saw the killer in him. But he was a killer because he had to defend his friends. He had to make sure his friends and himself survived, which I thought was a really a breakout role, considering all of the other roles that he had done prior to, which were very evil sort of characters. And the Young Gun series was an elevation, I think, for him. Sure. And number 1, how could you not have 24 as his number 1? I mean, that made him a worldwide name, as opposed to what we knew and grew up with. I mean, us growing up at our age, Stand By Me, Lost Boys, Young Guns, but that was a very consolidated sort of community. 24 was, I mean, that just exploded, and he became something next level at that point.
Yeah, he's kind of a throwback to those older like 60s and 70s action series that kind of made guys into superstars, like think of like Magnum PI, right? Tom Selleck, he entered a different platform. David Hasselhoff with Knight Rider, I'm just coming up with some of the few off the top of my head, but I agree. He went to another level with 24. So my list is pretty similar to both of you guys. My number 5, and kind of this theme of nobody plays evil better than Kiefer Sutherland, and it's For a Time to Kill, where he is, if he is not as evil as it is, then you can't forgive Samuel L. Jackson later, right? And that's just like such an excellent dynamic. But you have like Samuel L. Jackson dominating on one side, and then Kiefer Sutherland has to be equally as dominant. And both those guys are, again, best of their craft, and both nailed those roles, and it just added so much to the film itself. I need to watch that film again, by the way.
It's so good. It's chock full of all kinds of great performances, and that was one of my 2 honorable mentions. That was tough to keep off the list, but I figured since I had so many,
can I finish my list, or you want to keep?
Okay, so let's not have discussions. So go ahead.
Oh no, we are discussing. Were you going to talk more about Time to Kill? Because if not, I got to give you my number 4.
No, we're talking about Time to Kill. I was talking about how I agree that was like one of his best performances, but couldn't put it on my list. So go fuck yourself.
When it comes to note, I didn't interrupt you. Just throwing that in there.
Okay, number 4 for me is Stand By Me. Again, he's just so good in that film. My number 3 is 24, for again the reasons that Pete said. And I'm not basing that one off of necessarily even my preference, because I actually haven't fully seen like an episode of it. I know of them, but I had missed that because that happened like right, I think, when I was going to college. And this is before DVR and all that good stuff. So, you know, if you missed it on its live run, you kind of missed it. And then it was already like 3 seasons in, and, you know, made it much difficult. But 24, I just know he's excellent in it. The role is built for a guy like Kiefer Sutherland, and you know, he's awesome in that. Number 2, the Young Guns series. I really want to put that number 1, but he's just a more minor character, even though he has more depth in his character than the number 1. But the number 1, he is like the main villain in character, and he carries it, and that's for Lost Boys. You guys both had it on your list, but I put that number 1 just because I feel like
number 1. I mean, I'm impressed.
It's just that, I mean, that's the film that just he jumps out on screen, and you're just like, dude, who is this guy? Because I mean, you know, obviously he's the son of Donald Sutherland, but I don't think before that he had done a major film where he really dominated like that. And this was his first breakout role. And then, I mean, again, I loved him in Young Guns. He balances Emilio Estevez so well in this. But I just think Lost Boys is, like I said, it's more for the significance of that role.
I've never heard you talk about Lost Boys before, and it's it's something that I've talked to like everybody that I know. We always talk about Lost Boys as one of those films, and I've never heard you talk about it. So I didn't expect you to put that at number 1 or even acknowledge it. I just didn't know that you knew.
I've seen it. I've seen it several times. I mean,
I'm impressed. Maggots, Paul. You're eating maggots.
Yeah. I saw it not too long ago too. I've seen it within the last 2 years for sure. I don't know how I watched it, but yeah. And then a couple honorable mentions for me is Eye for an Eye. I don't know if you guys have seen that one with Sally Fields, but you know, that one's again kind of that similar, just pure evil role. And you know, Sally Fields fighting for her life, and Kiefer Sutherland's just a pure asshole in that one in a great way. Flatliners is one of those kind of famous roles that he had with Julia Roberts. Few Good Men, yeah. He's a smaller role in that one, though. Yeah,
smaller role, but it was a significant role. I mean,
yeah, for sure. Oh, and he's excellent. Yeah, he's excellent in that one, along with Jack Nicholson.
The Freeway. Have you guys seen that one? Freeway. It's like a
I saw it a long time ago.
Long ago.
It's kind of like an evil. It's basically what did Robin Little Red Riding Hood. Basically,
right.
You know, obviously a reimagined one, but it's him and Reese Witherspoon.
Oh, right.
Yeah, he plays a very just evil,
sadistic.
Yeah,
he is excellent in that one. I'm remembering the role as you're kind of talking more about it.
And he was in Three Musketeers, but he didn't play.
Yeah, it had a good idea.
Talk about Three Musketeers.
We all wanted that to be such a great film, and it just you know,
it's supposed to be so good.
That again and again and
again. Yeah. Another one I had was Forsaken as well. It's a newer Western that he's in, but him and his dad are both in it, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty entertaining, especially for a newer Western. I don't think it's a 310 Yuma level, or definitely not a Young Guns level, but I think it's a solid like B for a Western, especially a modern Western. If you haven't seen that one, check it out.